Hey, it's the Scotch Test Dummies, and here's the deal. We've been asked. We've got probably 200 bottles on my shelf. Scott's going to be doing a similar deal. We're going to be showing not only a little bit of our shelves, but kind of what is our current go-to whiskey off of these shelves. With so much to choose from, what do we choose? Why do we choose it? What draws us back? Now, before I go any further, I want to also say, Scott doesn't know this, but I was in Tampa, and my wife actually, who's way better than I am, she went to Tampa's Finest Homemade Cigars. She's from Puerto Rico, she speaks Spanish, and she picked up, and I'll put this back in the bag for Scott, she picked up a real fat cigar for Scott that has even got a cool name. It's called Big Daddy. Hello! She's like, that seemed like it'd be good for Scott. I go, Big Daddy, good call. He'll enjoy that. It's in the USA. It's in Tampa, Florida. That is going to be, actually smells pretty good. That's going to be for Scott. But for right now, we're going to go to our top fives. Now, I got a little sheet because I made a sheet so I could follow it out. First thing is, and sometimes, let me put out a caveat, this is a little seasonal. It's been in the hundreds and upper 90s with high humidity. I don't do as many peated whiskeys when it's that hot. I do some. Number five. First, you're going to notice over here, we've got a lot of what I call more specialty whiskeys. We got Corsair, we got Single Cask Nation, we got Mccarthy's, we got Scotch Malt Whiskey Society. That's kind of what I throw over here. They sit on this shelf, but I'm going to tell you the Oat Rage. The Oat Rage has gotten better and better and better the longer it's sat in the bottle. I get a lot of chocolate notes. I get some real different flavors out of this. Chocolate's heavy, but it's so unique. Corsair in and of itself with their triple smoke, with their Rymageddon. I've got one other one I can't remember off the top of my head. They are so different and unique that I find myself going back to it every once in a while. How much does it cost? You know what? I can't even remember. I will tell you this. This didn't sell well at one of our bigger liquor stores, and they had it on a clearance rack. And I got it for like half off. I snatched it off of there, and I hadn't had the Oats Rage at the time. Steal. I've been killing this bottle. Killing it. So Oat Rage is my number five for what I go back to. Hello, watch out. Number five is my Oat Rage.
Okay, my number five selection. As you can see, I've got, this is the shelf. I've got most of my American bourbons and ryes on this one. A little bit of overflow on the bottom of everything. But my number five pick that I'm coming in for is somewhere in here. And I'm looking, and I'm looking, and there it is. Woodford Reserve Kentucky Straight Malt Whiskey. Okay, Woodford Reserve Kentucky Straight Malt Whiskey comes in at my number five position. And as you can see, pretty good hit on the bottle here. We reviewed this one not too long ago. This is a $32 to $35 priced bottle, 45.2%. Now it's Kentucky Straight Malt Whiskey, so 51% malt. The rest is made up of corn, barley, or more barley, rye, and or wheat. It brings a little bit of the malt characteristics with a little bit of the bourbon characteristics. And it's a nice combination. I like what Woodford Reserve did here, and I think a lot of people out in the whiskey world are feeling the same thing. So, to Bart for his number four.
Number four, I don't have to hardly move. I mentioned these are my kind of more unique and rare, or not rare, but specialty whiskeys, the Mccarthy's. Peated whiskey. So I don't go to a lot of peated whiskey in the summer, but Mccarthy's is an American, or they call it an Oregon, I believe, single malt. They call it pot distilled, Clear Creek Distillery, Portland, Oregon, USA, Oregon single malt. A little bit of shake. Oregon single malt. It's a peated whiskey. Here's what I like about these. They are going to differ a little bit from casking to casking, or bottle to bottle. This happens to be W14-01, which I believe is 2014, and it's the first bottle out of the year. Yep, well, I don't know now. Bottled September 8, 2014. Who knows? I don't know what W14 means. I know I got two of them. We've hit them both. And this one's W1602, September 23rd, 2016. And they are both uniquely different. I actually like the 14 a little bit better, but it's a lighter American style. They've brought that peat over. They've smoked their whiskey. It's just unique and special and different, and I kind of like that, in particular, as you're going to see with my whiskeys. Scott, we're splitting this in, rolling back to you for your number 4.
All right, I'm coming back in now. It's my time for my number 4. Where will I land? Where will I land? Another American whiskey, another bourbon. Absolutely. There it is. Weller's Special Reserve. My number 4 coming in, another bourbon, this time a wheated bourbon. Generally, I prefer, I don't want to say I prefer, I feel like a lighter, smoother bourbon, not necessarily all the rye, heavy hitting mash bills. And I'll tell you what, Weller's Special Reserve and or Maker's Mark, for that matter of fact, both deliver for me. This is an $18 bottle in our area. It's 45% ABV. Now it's a wheated bourbon, so you got 51% corn. That other 49%, they've used wheat to replace the rye. And so it usually comes off a little lighter, a little sweeter, more honey notes, stuff like that. And I've been finding that my palate has just really been digging this. It wasn't that long ago that we reviewed the Weller Special Reserve, and it surprised me from when I opened up the bottle. And in fact, I've picked up another bottle since. To Bart for your number 3.
All right, we're coming in first. You're seeing a little bit of the hat collection over here. We're going to move by. That's not pretty. I grab the hat and I go. So I'm coming in. What else am I doing? My number 3, I'm just going to tell you, it's not the ECBP. I like to go with my very, very big small batch Elijah Craig. It's got the 12-year right on the back. Whiskey Scout found this for me, and I said, please, please buy me one of these. The Elijah Craig small batch, yes, the ECBP, phenomenal. The bottle of wow. But even their Elijah Craig, their ECSB, their small batch, is phenomenal. It's light. It's bourbon all over the place. It's 12 years old. Affordable. Massive taste. Great, great bourbon-esque notes. Elijah Craig is my go-to. If I put it back right, it's my go-to bourbon of all time. You're going to see that I've got several different types of Elijah Craig. The very first one that Scott introduced me to has the older, what I call coffin, or sorry, this is more of the coffin style. This is the older, what is this? I can't even remember what it's called. This is just, if you look at it, this is the original ECBP that we even reviewed on the show. Love it. Took quite a hit during our first 12 hours of boom. Scott, back to you for your number 3.
All right, number 3 pick. Where are we coming? Is it a bourbon again? Another bourbon, a rye? I don't think so. Let's look up here. We got our scotches, most of our peateds, some world whiskeys, others. Let's see, is it up here? There's some Macallans back there. No, let's come down right there. Lagavulin 8-year, followed closely. I had to debate this one, the 12-year 2017. As you can see, both of these bottles have taken a hit. Let's look at the Lagavulin 8. My number 3 bottle, Lagavulin 8-year. This one's almost gone. I've got a spare bottle that I picked up. The price point that this is coming in at, now originally this was around $60, $70. At least in our area, and I've seen it online in other areas, it's been going on sale for like $45, $49. It's hard to resist at that price. Lagavulin 8 at 48%. This is strictly just ex-bourbon cask. No sherry cask influence on this at all. It's a young Lagavulin. It's bringing you the peat from Lagavulin without that wine cask sherry influence. So if you want to know what Lagavulin is about, start with the 8-year. If you can find it for $45, $49, no brainer. So good quality stuff coming from Lagavulin. If you haven't, try the Lagavulin 8. Back to Bart. Number 2.
All right, we're coming into my number 2. Now, number 1, you're looking at kind of my, I wouldn't say exclusive peat shelf because you got a few things that aren't, but most of my peated stuff is over here. I've got a lot, or all of my Compass Box stuff here. I've got Octomores. I think you were looking at a Del Bach there, but I've got my Ardbegs. I got the Brooklotti sample pack. From our 3 different, you'll look up here. I'm going to come to what is my number 2 here in a second. These are actually not the English Whiskey Company, the Ardbeg, nor is it the Glenmorangie Rare Cask. These are actually going to be from our 3 shows that we did. So I'm not going to get into these because these are combinations, but I wanted to at least show you. So this is not a Glenmorangie 18. This is our Make America Peated again, all blended together and almost, I don't know. It's like a crazy peat world that these 3 are. And I haven't even touched back to those. But what are we going to? I have been knocking the heck out of this 2003 Balvenie Peat Week 14-year Scotch. The flavors here are unbelievable. When I want a peat smoke, this is what I'm going to. It's very reminiscent of the Lagavulin 12-year 2017. But it's special. It's unique. It's different. You'll notice that I actually liked it so much that I had my wife pick me up another one for my birthday. I was going to say anniversary, but it was for my birthday. That one will stay in the can for some time. We'll see how long this one makes it. And I got to tell you, boy, if I saw one other one, I'd probably pick it up as well. I'm hoping their 2004 bottling is going to be as good. This may be a unicorn. Maybe this is what we're going to see coming from Balvenie in the future. And of course, as Scott knows, I'm calling for a peat month, not just a peat week. I want more and more and more. Peat it up, Balvenie. Peat it up. Money-wise, about $90, give or take where you're at. I know it can range. How do you tell the difference? Because you do want to tell the difference. There is a little thing in red called Vintage, and you want the 03 if you want a heavily peated one. They started this with the 02, and it's, go check a live stream, an impromptu we did, but you'll want to look right to the, kind of the right of the 14, and you'll see, look for the 03. Heavily peated, 03, 02, not so much. It's going to be like a tenth of the peat factor. Kicking it back over to Scott for his number 2.
All right, time for my number 2. Number 2, let's look over here. Over where? There's some special editions. There's some Compass boxes. Some rare bottles. No, not the rare ones necessarily. Maybe we're coming somewhere in here. Behind Boba Fett. There it is. Delilah's 25th. Look at this. I just got this bottle. It's already draining down. This one's hard to stay away from, people. Number 2. All right, Bart coming in at my number 2. Compass Box, Delilah's blend, 25th anniversary. This is brand new to market. I want to say 8,800 bottles, 8,600 bottles, something like that. This is coming in just under or right around $100 a bottle. I have picked up 3 bottles of this basically. So, and as you can see, not that long ago I opened this. I've had several. It's hard not to go back to this one. Okay. Nice bourbon cask scotch with some sherry influence, light sherry notes. Very well done. It's bottled at 46%. Now this is a blended Scotch whiskey. So it's comprised of malt whiskeys and grain whiskeys. But well done by John Glazer at Compass Box. This is the 25th anniversary for Delilah's in Chicago, which follows up with a release they did several years ago for Delilah's. It's a punk rock bar in Chicago. So the Delilah's 25th anniversary from Compass Box, well done.
All right,
Number
so
one.
we're moving down from the peat shelf, and we're kind of sliding down. If we can angle down a little bit, you're going to see a bit more of some of my Scotch type bottles. Now, not necessarily this shelf, but if you're going to see some Paul Johns, you're going to see some Brooklottis, you're going to see some Douglas Langs, you're even going to see the O2 version of the Balvenie Peat Week. But here's what we're going to zoom in on. We're going to zoom in on an Irish whiskey. All right, the Jameson Black Barrel. Now, what they've gone is they've taken an older barrel, they've recharred it. They really, really charred heavy, hence the Black Barrel. What you're going to get out of this Jameson's whiskey is it's triple distilled, and this is, I'm going to tell you why it's my number one go-to bottle right now. It's just what I've been going back to. It is so caramel, vanilla, smooth, light, clean, refreshing. When it's July in Wichita, Kansas, and it's 105, it's 110, the humidity's way up. I've been working all day. I'm hot, I'm sweaty. I still love my peat, but I just don't always want to pour the peat in. And I've been coming back to this again and again and again, and I was like, wow. To the point that I bought another bottle, and it's not that they're even hard to find. It's just so... It's almost this sweet caramel that I like, but it just feels refreshing at the end of a workday. And it does not have a lot of complexity. It won't break your bank. You can make it almost a daily sipper. It's like $35 a bottle, I think. Extremely affordable, very, very high quality. I like the fact that they've gone in and heavily charred the barrel, coming up with the Black Barrel. It really opened me up to Jameson's. I'm not as big a fan of the regular Jameson's, but this Black Barrel is top-notch. So it's light, clean, refreshing, sweet, caramel. And I just keep going back and back and back to it. We'll need to do this again like January 1 or deep in December, because I'm telling you, I'll have a lot more of the peated stuff going on then. But number one, and kicking over to Scott for his number one, head on over there right now.
Okay, my number one. Let's look back there, the Macallans. Uh-oh, it's gone. I don't even have it anymore. The Classic Cut, the red box, where's it at? It's gone. I couldn't stop drinking it. Down to my number one, and I don't even have it because it's gone because I drank it. That's the Macallan Classic Cut. The Macallan Classic Cut is so good. I need to go get another bottle. I thought I had one. I don't. $80 to $90, a cask strength Macallan. From European and American oak sherry casks, cask strength. It's delicious. Once you crack the bottle, you cannot help going back to it and having more and more and more. That's all I got to say. I wish I had the empty bottle here to show you. Hopefully I have a picture of it to insert. Other than that, I need to pick up another bottle soon.
All right, thanks for joining us. You've just gotten Scott's number one. I wanted to kind of do a walkthrough. So again, I've kind of got my peated shelf, but I got my Tibetans, and I've got a few different oddballs here, and I got my compass box, which definitely aren't just peated. You'll see I've got kind of more of my Scotch leaning things over here, my crazy hat collection, which looks a little messy. I apologize. And here's what's about to happen. You're going to see my Ardbegs, which are really taking over, and we're going to do a family shootout here pretty soon, probably with these Ardbegs and more. You're also going to see a huge Lagavulin expression kind of going on over here, and a lot of toys. Scott keeps giving me a hard time. These toys, these Star Wars things, are going to probably have to start leaving as whiskey takes over more and more and more. I wanted to move over a little bit. We've got a nice Ardbeg. We've got a couple Japanese whiskeys. And this is stuff we've got to film. Scott should be panning onto it now. We keep a go-to section, which was funny because we used to be very bourbon heavy, and now we've got a lot more Scotch and world whiskeys up here than we do bourbons, and we got to fill in a few of the bourbons. But this is my shelf. Here's the deal. My memory sucks. Scott can remember what we filmed 5 years ago in September. I need a shelf that basically says we haven't filmed these, and that's what this is. Also, on occasion, Scott will loan me something, and I can't even remember. He could trick me easily. I can't remember what I've put on this shelf and what he did, but I will hit certain bottles repeatedly, and then he'll come over and go, God dang, you're really putting a hit in my bottle. Sorry. I apologize. All right, but that's kind of what's to come, or what's even, we've got a couple. We need to do a show with like what's gotten lost on the to-do list and just do 2 or 3 at the same time on an impromptu. That's about it. Thanks for joining in. You're going to see there's some different ryes here. We got some brandies. We got some samples, other samples from Scott Malt's Whiskey Society. That's about it. Sometime we'll get into my cheap bourbons that sit down here. But that's for another time. This shelf continues to morph and move, and God knows I need to make more room for peated whiskey. See you guys. Scotch it, you Scotch gods.
Thanks for watching. Go to scotchtestdummies.com and check out our merchandise page. Check out our events tab for information coming up on our 5th year anniversary Scotch gathering here in Wichita. It's October 19th and 20th of 2018. Check us out on Patreon as well and support us. So, Solancha, dummies.